Happy New Year, everyone! We are in the year of 2016, and for some reason, I'm still talking about the movies that came out in 2015. So, I obviously have to do my best of worst of list, which will be out this weekend, I can guarantee that. But I wanted to, before all that, in the tradition of my channel, put up a video where I talk about all the movies that I did see that came out in 2015, but I just didn't have the time to review. So this is just a compilation of the movies that I have seen in the past year that I haven't reviewed. I haven't seen all the movies. Let me just put that right there. I still haven't seen stuff like The Big Short or Spotlight. Still want to see that. I still haven't seen The Hateful Eight because I was on vacation for a week, but I will be doing a separate review for Hateful Eight. So don't panic about not getting a review of that movie. I will be reviewing that movie individually. So that is a reason why it's not popping up on this list, even if I had seen it. So, without further ado, let's get into the movies. With 2014, I missed out on reviewing a lot of movies. So that 2014 catch-up video, as it's currently called, was very long. It had a lot of movies that I wish I'd seen and reviewed. This year was pretty light. I managed to review most of the movies that I saw in 2015, and I only have 8 movies to talk about in this video, so let's just jump right into it. We're going to talk about the first movie, which is Ex Machina. This stars Domhnall Gleeson, Oscar Isaac, and Alicia Vikander. Oscar Isaac in this movie plays the creator of this search engine called Blue Book. Basically, it's like Google. He brings in a young coder, played by Domhnall Gleeson, to test out his latest invention, artificial intelligence. He wants Domhnall Gleeson to see if this creation has blurred the line between machine or human. This movie is fantastic, I gotta say. I wish I'd seen this when it came out, but it's got great performances by mainly Oscar Isaac and Alicia Vikander, who's really popped up in a lot of stuff. Domhnall Gleeson is good, but I feel like his character is a bit underwritten. But, I mean, he still does a good job. It's just he's not as good as the other two actors. And it's got an atmosphere, like It Follows, that really helps make the movie a little more intense. I mean, it's a science fiction film, but it's one of those intellectual science fiction films. It makes us ask the question about artificial intelligence, like, when has it become so real that we think it's not a machine? When is it cruelty to keep an AI enslaved? It's very much a thinker's movie, and because of that, it has a very slow pace, but you're really invested in the characters, and the dialogue is really great. I don't think I have many problems with this. This is a movie like It Follows, where I heard, like, the regular moviegoers say this thing's amazing, and then a lot of film critics on YouTube mainly going, well, it was good, but it wasn't all amazing like people say it is. And like It Follows, it's one of those movies that I blindly bought on Blu-ray without seeing, and luckily I was not disappointed. I really have yet to see a movie that I bought blindly on Blu-ray that I kind of regret. So Ex Machina is really a great movie, I think. Get off your ass and go see it right now. Next up is Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. This movie tells the story of a high school kid and his best friend who spend their time making movies. The main character meets this girl who's dying of cancer, and they really start to have a connection with each other. I saw this movie long after it had been released in the theaters, and everyone's been telling me how great this thing was. And, you know, to be honest, I thought it was okay. I think the movie may have been overhyped for me. I think I may have expected too much from it, but I felt the main character to be this real shithead, like, to the point where I just didn't like him. I didn't care about him at all. He acts like a little bitch a lot of the times. But his chemistry with the girl dying of cancer is very compelling, and it's believable. It's one of these movies where I love parts of it, but then I despise other parts of it. So it's hard to say if it's a disappointment, but no, it is a disappointment, but I don't dislike it at all. I just think it's okay. So, I mean, it is well made, I'll give it that, so I'll definitely say it's good, but it's not a great movie. I really want to give this thing another shot, because I feel like I may have been too harsh on it, but as it stands, it's okay for me. Next up is Ricki and the Flash, which stars Meryl Streep as this woman who leaves her family in order to become a rock star. Her daughter just went through a divorce, so she has to come home and try to make amends with her family, try to make things right, even though she abandoned them years later. This is written by Diablo Cody, who I feel has kind of fallen down. with her career. I mean, Juno was a big hit with her. I mean, got her an Oscar. But after Juno, with stuff like Jennifer's Body, Burlesque, Youth, she just kind of lost her touch. Or maybe it was just we fell for Juno. I don't know what happened to Diablo Cody, but Ricki in the Flash is another miss for her. It's very weird seeing Meryl Streep take on this kind of role. Meryl Streep is good in the movie, and the relationship she has with her real life daughter, yet her daughter in the movie is played by Meryl Streep's real life daughter. It works. You believe it, but overall, it's forgettable. There's not much else worth mentioning. It's just forgettable, and it's kind of bad, but not horrible. Watch at your own risk. Next up is Sicario, which is directed by the director who made Prisoners, Enemy, and is doing the upcoming Blade Runner 2. It focuses on an FBI agent played by Emily Blunt, who's tasked to try and capture this Mexican drug lord, along with Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin. The movie has some very intense moments and is pretty eye-opening in tackling the subject of what's going on the other side of the border. It has real intense moments, and it's shot in a realistic way that really helps showcase the notion of what's going on down there. The cinematographer is Roger Deakins, and given that it's him, it's beautifully shot, and this guy's going to get an Oscar nomination for that again. Sadly, I don't love the movie. My problem with the movie, even though it's intense, well shot, and has fantastic performances, it's that Emily Blunt feels wasted. She's good in the movie, but she feels more like the audience avatar, which maybe that was the point. Maybe some people saw it as the point, and hey, that's great. But I feel like she could have done a little more in the movie, because she often sits around and does nothing, while Benicio del Toro, who's the show stealer of the movie, does all the work. I mean, Benicio del Toro in this movie is terrifying. He is really great. In terms of best supporting actor, he might get it. Hard to say, but he was really great in the movie. But despite my criticism of Emily Blunt's character, I still think it's a fantastic movie. I don't love it, but I definitely like it a lot, so it's worth seeing in your lifetime. Next up is Black Mass, aka The Return of Johnny Depp. In this movie, Johnny Depp plays Whitey Bulger, and it basically chronicles his life and his relationship with his brother who's in the FBI, who lets him get away with all the shit just so his own career can benefit. It's a very well-made film and is even disturbing at times. Johnny Depp gives a fantastic performance, which I think is going unnoticed. It shouldn't be unnoticed, because he is very creepy in the movie. The way he looks, the way he acts, it's the Johnny Depp that we want to see, instead of him just doing Captain Jack Sparrow in every movie. And all the other performances are great. You got Joel Edgerton, Kevin Bacon, Benedict Cumberbatch, Peter Skarsgård, and Dakota Johnson, who, coming off the heels of 50 Shades of Grey, I could tell right away she's not another Kristen Stewart, because she, for the little time she has in this movie, she is fantastic. She plays Whitey Bulger's wife at the time, and she is really great. It makes you really mad at her for doing 50 Shades of Grey, because she's terrible in that, but she, I definitely think, is a fantastic actress. And once that 50 Shades of Shit series is done, hopefully she can go off and prove herself. But not to get sidetracked, because the big star of this movie is Johnny Depp. I feel like he should get more recognition, because this is a very intense, well-made, maybe a little long, but still a really great movie, I think. Worth seeing in your lifetime. Next up is Room, which tells a story about this woman who's been taken captive by this kidnapper, has a child in her 7 years of isolation, and it focuses on them trying to get out and see if they can adjust to the real life, especially her son. This is a very intense movie. I think this might be the most intense movie I've seen in 2015, because there's a real sense of dread, closure, and just isolation. It's very intense, and at times it can be hard to watch, but the thing that keeps it going for me is Brie Larson. Brie Larson plays the mother in this movie, and she's phenomenal. I guarantee you that she should win Best Actress. Like, I have a feeling that since 2015 is over, I'm safe to say that that is a mortal lock. like, it is a lock that Brie Larson's gonna win Best Actress at the Oscars. Like, she's very deserving of it, and she carries most of this movie on her own. I will say the second half runs a bit too long, because the first half just moves so quickly, and the little kid can be annoying at times. But I still think it's really well made, and Brie Larson is phenomenal in this film. Worth seeing in your lifetime. Next up is Where to Invade Next, the Michael Moore documentary. I don't normally review documentaries because it's kind of a tricky subject, and it's hard to really tell people if they should really check this out or not. But basically, this movie, despite its misleading title, it's about Michael Moore going around several European countries like Germany, France, Finland, and trying to see if there's anything that they have that can improve our country. Like, the French have these school cafeteria food that it's like high quality restaurant food. The Italians have 8 weeks paid vacation, and if you have a baby, you get 5 months paid vacation off. And it's insane to watch, like, all these aspects that these other countries have that could really benefit us, and to find out that all those things were actually American ideas, it kind of makes you mad. It makes you mad at our country for just, like, wasting more than 50% of money on the military, which we don't need. To be honest, it kind of makes me want to move out of the country. It seriously does, and watching this documentary makes you want to go up to our leaders and just slap the shit out of them for fucking up so much, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. But it's still a fascinating documentary that I think you should really see whether or not you agree with Michael Moore or not, because it is very fascinating to see all the stuff that we could possibly have that would benefit everyone in this country, especially the middle class. So I think it's a documentary that's definitely worth seeing in your lifetime. It's very eye-opening. At last, we have Youth, which stars Harvey Keitel and Michael Caine as two friends who are vacationing in the Alps as they reflect upon their past. This is one of those movies like Tree of Life that I don't think is for everyone. It doesn't have much of a narrative, although, I mean, if you look closely, it does. But it's more like a movie that kind of reflects on being old and being young, and just, it's kind of a reflection on life. Like, it's a movie that I think older people will definitely watch, even though it has that, which you probably don't want to watch it with your grandparents for that one thing in particular. But it is a very interesting movie. Jane Fonda is in this movie, and I feel that she's too over the top and kind of pointless. She comes in at the very end of the movie and has no purpose to be in it, honestly. But it's still really good. Michael Caine is great, as always, and so is Harvey Keitel. It's a movie that I would recommend, but I don't think it's anything too special. Good, but not great. So those are all the movies that I've seen in 2015 that I've not done individual reviews for. I'll obviously see movies like Big Short, Spotlight, and I'll give you my review for The Hateful Eight when I see it, but that's all I have to offer from 2015. Check in this weekend for my best of and worst of videos, and until then, leave a comment to tell me what you thought of this video. What did you think of all the movies? If you've seen them, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Don't forget to check out my official website, therealmrrobinson.com, and don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and Periscope. This is The Real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one, and have yourself an awesome 2016.